Good afternoon. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Clay and I'll be chairing today's session. Panel members today are Paul Gauguin, Zahir Bayat, and Dylan Reed, and our Deputy Secretary Treasurer is Sabrina Salatino. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the options of participating via video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called upon to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, the Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually will need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Today I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may also ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're approaching the 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or oppose the opposition or the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are there any declarations of interest? The panel or staff? None? Seeing none, are there any deferral requests?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and panel members. Yes, first we'll get to files that should be withdrawn closed. So we do have one, item 19, 475 Yonge Street, file number B0028/23TEY. If we can get a motion to close that file.
So here, motion to close, seconded by Mr. Gogan. All in favor? Okay, that's closed.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have 3 items this afternoon where agents have requested deferral. Item number 26, 56 Summerhill Gardens, file number A0205/24TY. Item 32, 336 Waverly Road, file number A0214/24TY. And item number 35, 257 Dunvegan Road, file number A0220/24TEY.
Great, thank you. Can we deal with any of those right now?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we could probably deal with all 3 at this time.
Okay. The agent is available for number 26.
So through you, Mr. Chair, yes, the agent is here. We also have the registered speakers here.
Okay.
So one by one, they can also approach the podium and speak to the deferral request.
Do I need to read this into the record?
Yes.
So this is number 26, 56 Summerhill Gardens. Purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear 2-story addition, a 3rd-story addition, a rear ground floor deck, and a rear 3rd floor deck. Also to rebuild the front porch, and it should be noted that the existing rear addition and rear ground floor deck will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a deferral request from the agent, an arborist report, presentation materials from the agent, and 19 pages of photographs and proposed renderings. Staff, we have staff reports from Urban Forestry and from Development and Engineering Services. There is one form letter of support from 37 Summerhill Gardens. There is correspondence in opposition from 21, 52, 58, and 60 Summerhill Gardens, and from materials in opposition from 54 Summerhill Gardens. Hello.
Hello.
If you could give us your name and address, please.
My name is Kirsten Thompson, and my address is 113 Montrose Avenue.
Great, and you're requesting a deferral.
We are requesting a deferral. So the property backs onto the Avoca Ravine, and as part of that, the TRCA has requested us to confirm the long-term stable top of slope line through a geotechnical survey study. And that line impacts how much development we can do beyond the line. So we have consulted with various geotechnical engineers, and then the TRCA said we could use a report that was done in 2022, assuming that a site review by the engineer didn't see any significant changes. And so that site review has happened, but we don't yet have the report. So we can't really continue the discussion with TRCA until we know exactly where that line is.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. There are some folks registered to speak, so
Yep.
We'll
So
hear
we'll
from
just
them
have you
first.
come up one by one, okay?
If it's okay, my wife will share the 5 minutes with me.
sure,
I don't
but
think we'll take
we
5
may not
minutes.
be able to, you may not get your 5 minutes here today.
I can understand that, Chairman.
So,
My name is
welcome.
Brett Baston.
Okay, and
Thank
your
you.
address?
I live at 58 Summerhill Gardens. This is
And
my
your name,
wife.
ma'am?
My name is Astrid Bastin.
And same address?
58.
Okay. Sir, I'm only going to ask you one question, and
Yes.
that's all I'm really looking for today, is are you in agreement with the request to defer?
I agree with the request to defer for 3 reasons. The first is that we need to conduct probably our own geotechnical work, which is objective. We need to, secondly, get a better understanding of the city planning process. When the applicant unleashed, a couple dozen pages of information, we start to realize yesterday that we're probably in over our heads. So we need more advice, we need more time. And then thirdly, and I'll keep this brief, we think that there may be a legal element to this, and that is, if the TRCA is to support the recommendation and the city planning group should approve it, We want to know, where does the accountability lie if there's ever in the future a problem with the slope stability that could be traced directly to the work that's going to be done if the proposal is accepted. So it's really a question of who's underwriting the risk.
Okay.
A number of our resident neighbors have the same concern. I'll keep my comments brief. Thank you. Are there any questions for me?
No, I will take you that your basic answer to the basic question is yes, you're
It
okay
is
with the
yes.
deferral.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
Is there anyone else? Hi, come on up.
Thank you.
If you could give us your name and address,
Yes.
please.
My name is Carrie Mandel, and I live at 54 Summerhill Gardens,
Okay.
directly to the north of the applicant.
And I'll put the same question to you. I know you have comments on the application, but all I
Yes.
really want to know today is, are you in favor or opposed to the request for deferral?
The request for deferral seems sensible, with one caveat, if I may, in addition to what my neighbor said, which I support. Really, the scheduling point, we're all busy people working, went to great personal cost to be here today in person without prior notice that this was going to be deferred or requested to be so. I've retained the services of a planner who's also attending virtually. So I don't know what our rights are with respect to coordinating calendars, but if I'm on a business trip or I'm otherwise committed and I can't be here in person, I'd be concerned that I'd be prejudiced, right, to represent my interests.
Okay.
If that's appropriate, I just wanted to.
No, that's fine. That's just a statement. I'll take it that you're
Thank you.
okay with the deferral. With
Absolutely.
respect to rescheduling,
Yeah.
it'll be rescheduled, when the appropriate material is completed and depending on when it can be slotted in. So you will have another kick at this can.
Any input that we can give on scheduling or coordinating schedules amongst the parties in objection?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, that's not possible. So what happens is as soon as the materials are submitted, then we schedule the application for the next available hearing date. Anyone can attend virtually or in person. There's no prejudice of either or either way that you've attended. The members will hear all the materials, review all the materials. So that's the best that we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else registered to speak?
Yes.
You're fine?
You don't want to speak to the deferral? No, I was here with the owner. Okay, okay.
That's it?
Yeah, but can we just, okay, Michael was the representative.
That's her plan? Oh, he's her planner. Okay.
Well, we have Michael.
Do you want to just double check?
Yeah. Yeah, she was, you can unmute Michael just to say that.
Hi, Michael, you've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you. With respect to the
Oh,
request,
hold it, Mike, if you just give us your name and address, please.
sorry, Michael Minette, 23 Foxwood Road, Thornhill, and I am a planner representing Carrie Mandel, who you just heard from, 24 Summerhill Gardens.
Okay, so
And
I'm
we have
going
made
to
a
assume
submission.
you concur with her decision.
Yes, we concur with the deferral, and we have filed materials, which I believe you have as part of the package.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I guess we have a request for deferral. We go into committee. There is a request. You've heard that the opponents are okay with the request. Can I get a motion? Mr. Reed?
It sounds like a deferral will be of benefit to everyone, so I move that we defer.
Move to defer.
For the reasons that we've heard?
For the reasons that we've heard.
Well, not all reasons. We have to be careful about the legal aspects of what we've heard. That's not in our purview, but just for further studies, right?
And
that
I'd
need to
add
be
in
submitted.
consultation to
And
ensure that
consultation.
continued
For, yes,
consultation.
to get the further studies and for consultation
Yeah.
with neighbors.
Okay, motion to approve the request for deferral, seconded by Mr. Gogan. All in favor? You have your deferral. Thank you. Did we want to do another deferral? 32? 61. What was it? Oh, it's a semi. Okay. Item 32, 336 Waverly Road. The purpose of this application is to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by reconstructing the rear ground level deck. Also to construct two-story ancillary building, a detached garage with habitable space above. In the rear, abutting the laneway, the existing detached shed will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Revised site plan received April the 2nd, 2024. Covering letter from the agent and a deferral request from the agent received April the 11th. We have staff reports from Urban Forestry and correspondence in support from 334 and 338 Waverly Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online. No registered speakers for this item.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Paige Reisha. I'm the agent for this application.
Okay, and you are requesting a deferral?
Yes, so we've heard back from planning staff that are not supportive of our application, so we're in the process of revising the design. On top of that, we also had, this is irrelevant now at this point, however, the zoning examiner forgot to include a variance on her original notice, and we would have had to defer regardless because of that mistake. So, you know, I don't know if you guys have any say or control over that part, but that's obviously not the fault of myself or the client, and could have, again, resulted in a deferral on its own. So.
Okay, thank you. Let's go into committee. Panel, can I get a motion to defer? Mr. Byatt? Can I get a seconder? Mr. Reed? All in favor? Okay, that's passed for the reasons stated. 35. This is an application for 257 Dunvegan Road. It's to construct a new three-story detached dwelling with a front integral garage, a front ground floor porch with stairs, rear ground floor covered terrace, and a rear second-story Juliet balcony, and a rear third-story balcony. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Decision number A0918/21TUI affecting the subject property. An arborist report, a drainage study, and presentation materials from the agent. We have email correspondence from Transportation Services, from Urban Forestry, and advisory reports from Metrolinx and Urban Forestry. There is support, 2 form letters in support from 246 and 251 Dunvegan. There is correspondence in opposition from 276 and 280 Forest Hill Road, 73 Old Forest Road, 274 Forest Road, 259 Dunvegan, 272 Forest Hill Road, 255 Dunvegan, and 270 Forest Hill Road, as well as 238 Dunvegan. There are 4 form letters in opposition from 284 Forest Hill Road, 272 Forest Hill Road, 282 and 291 Forest Hill Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online and registered speakers, so we'll hear from the agent first.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Mr. Bronskill, first initial D for David, 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, and I hope you can hear me okay.
We can very much. Mr. Bronskill, you're seeking a deferral.
We are seeking a deferral, sir. There's 2 reasons. The primary reason, sir, is there is a report from Urban Forestry that took us a little bit by surprise. We think there's an error with one of the trees mentioned in the report, but there's another tree that we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with them about, and it may necessitate the potential for some redesigns. And then if the committee saw fit to grant the deferral, we'd also undertake to reach out and ask some of those who are direct neighbors who have provided objection letters whether they'd be willing to have additional discussions. So that's the primary and then secondary reason for the deferral request, Mr. Chair.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, if we could have the first speaker.
So anyone here in person that want to approach the podium to speak on the deferral request?
Hi,
Hi,
you want to sit, yeah, have a seat?
sure.
And if you could just give us your name and address, please.
Larry Chad, 255 Dunvegan.
Okay. I only need one answer from you, which is they've requested deferral. Are you in support or opposed to a deferral
It's
request?
fine.
You are supportive of a deferral request? Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, Larry, you have Amber Stewart?
She's not here yet.
Okay,
She was gonna speak, but she's not here yet.
okay, but
But I
she's
spoke to
speaking
her
on
on the
behalf
phone.
of, okay, that's fine. Okay, next person, if you can please approach the podium.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I will.
If we could have
read
your
it.
name and address, please.
Naomi Himmel, 259 Dunvegan Road,
Okay,
the direct neighbor. I will support the deferral on condition they don't touch another tree after clear cutting
Well,
everything.
I appreciate that. There's no conditions on deferral. That, I think the agent said that they are going to be looking into the tree issue and they'll be discussing it with adjacent neighbors.
Okay, agreed.
Okay? So you're supportive of a deferral?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak?
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
just let us know your name and address, please.
Sure, Leslie Marcus, 272 Forest Hill Road.
Okay, and the same to you. We're not going to debate the merits of the proposal today, but if you could share with us your view about the request for deferral.
My view, rather than a yes or no,
A yes or no would be absolutely perfect.
I would prefer to have spoken it all out here today. We were all prepared to do that. In this case, I guess I will accept the deferral.
Thank you. You should know that when this does come back, you will have another opportunity to share your views, and I think the agents indicated that he'll be speaking, they'll be speaking with neighbors and those who've written in opposition.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
It's the same address anyways. Yeah, we're good.
We're done? All right. Mr. Bronskill.
Sir.
So you've heard the response. I think your offer to have discussions with the neighbors is a good one, and I think it would be welcomed. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take this into committee. Can I get a motion, Mr. Reed?
Yes, I propose a deferral in order to allow the applicant to discuss with forestry and in order for the applicant to discuss with the neighbors possible revisions to the plans.
Okay, I have a seconder. Mr. Byatt, all in favor? You have your deferral, sir. Okay. We go back to item number 20.
20.
Hang on here a second. Okay. Number 20, ABCD. This is for 109 to 111 Bolton Avenue. This is a request for consent to sever. To consent to sever an existing residential lot into 3 residential lots, 2 of which will be undersized and create an easement right of way, as well as an application to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by constructing a new south side basement walkout, and also to remove the on-site parking space, as well as an application to construct a new 3-story semi-detached dwelling. For each of the lots. So the next purpose is to construct a new 3-story semi-detached dwelling with a front 3rd-story terrace and 1 parking space on the north side of the property. Committee has before it a copy of the draft R plan of survey, copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plans, floor plans, and elevations for 109A and 109B Bolton, received March 28th, and revised zoning waivers for 109A and 109B Bolton Avenue. 4 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent dated January 24th, several decision numbers for affecting the subject property. Tree protection plan, planning rationale from the agent, correspondence from the agent dated March 28th. Presentation materials received April the 10th. We have staff reports from Engineering and Construction Services and from Metrolinx. There's correspondence and support from 91, 95, 107, 22, 115, 49, and 70 Bolton Avenue, and 92A Schollard Street.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online and no registered speakers for this item.
Great. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Did you want me to
Hi.
present?
Could you just give us your name and address, please?
Sure. I'm Adam Molson. I'm here as the agent for the owners. My personal address 174 Indian Grove.
Okay, we don't have any registered speakers on this item, but this is a complicated application, so I wonder if you could take the panel through it, please.
Yeah, more than happy to. Is it possible to bring up the supporting materials that were sent in?
Yes, we'll get those right away.
It should be presentation materials. It's near the top there, I think. No, that's, yeah, that's it. Okay. Let me know when you're ready for me to start.
Is that your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Over to you. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, so my name is Adam Molson. I'm here as the agent representing the owners of 109 Bolton, being Duncan and Ashley Smith. And they purchased this property in January with the intention of renovating this existing building here on the corner, along with severing the existing 6-car parking lot that you see on the right to create lots for the construction of a pair of semi-detached homes. It's located in Riverside, which is a typical old Toronto neighborhood with an eclectic collection of Victorians, row houses, semis, and detached homes on fairly small lots. And as you can see, the existing condition with the large asphalt parking lot on the side of the property is actually quite anomalous for the neighborhood. If we could go to the next slide, please. So this image here shows the proposed application where we're proposing to retain the existing building at 111 as is, albeit with a refreshed exterior. And then 109B and 109A are the proposed new 3-bedroom semi-detached homes. 109B is to be constructed for Duncan and Ashley as their family home, and 109A will be sold with the target being another neighborhood family. As you noted, we received 8 letters of support for this application, including from the directly adjacent neighbors to the north, east, and south. Next slide, please. So this proposed R plan gives you a site plan level perspective of the new lots. Parts 1 and 2 being a singular lot for the retained building on the corner, and parts 3 and 4 being new lots for 109B and A respectively. 109B will have an easement over part 2 so that it can access its backyard from Cumming Street to the north. Next slide, please. The images on the next slide give a sense of the immediately surrounding context. So the top left shows the Dundas Street Junior School, which is directly across the street immediately to the west. The bottom left shows the subject property situated at the corner of Bolton and Cummings. The top right shows the neighbor immediately to the south at 107 Bolton Avenue. And the bottom right shows the row houses that commence right after 107. And of note, all of these have 0 side lot setbacks. They're narrow in width than what we are proposing, and they're of a similar height and massing. Go to the next page, please. There are 3 to 5 variances required for each lot. Most of the variances relate to lot depth and area, along with side and rear yard setbacks. This map illustrates nearby precedents for these variances, and you'll see everything we've proposed is in line with existing conditions within the neighborhood. The one item that we are on the higher side for is for FSI, with 2.2 for the new semis being proposed. 31 Cummings down the street was around 2, which was sort of the closest comparison that we found. And in our case, the FSI really is just a function of the lots being very small. The homes themselves are relatively modest 3-bedroom semis of a size and massing that is very much in keeping with the street and the neighborhood. The one other thing I'd point out just with respect to density is that we do fall within a major transit station area, being just over 300 meters from the Riverside Leslieville station that's under construction on the Ontario line. Next slide, please. I've got a couple more images just to illustrate setbacks of nearby properties. So on the left, you see 107 Bolton, which has an approximately 2-foot setback from the rear lot line as compared to the over 8 feet that we are proposing. And then on the right is that property at 31 Cummings that I mentioned earlier in relation to FSI. It's on an even shallower lot than the subject property, and it has 0 side yard setbacks on both sides. Next slide, please. The next photos show 15 Cummings, which is a 4-unit townhouse project that was constructed a few years back immediately to the east of the property. Note the narrow setback on the right photo where they were approved for a setback of just under 4.5 feet to the same lot line that we are proposing a setback of over 8 feet. Okay, next slide, please. I did want to lastly note that we did engage with the city planning throughout this process. So in terms of the revised zoning waivers and the revised plans, it was a result of this discussion. This drawing here is a section from the original application where there was initially an overhang on the 2nd and 3rd floor at the rear of the property, which is shown on the left. And at the upper levels, in this case, we had a setback of 6 feet. Following the discussions with the planner, we agreed to pull these upper levels back to be in line with the ground floor. And so if you switch to the next and final slide, you'll see the result where we now have an 8-foot setback all the way up, which also slightly reduced the FSI from where we came in at. So planning was satisfied with the adjustment. Our neighbor to the rear, who initially had some concerns, has filed a letter saying that he no longer objects. And I'd just like to conclude by saying we believe our proposal is a huge improvement over the existing condition. We'd like to thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. You did submit a revised zoning waiver and revised plan. So are you making any changes to any of the variances?
Just the FSI and the setback variances just were reduced slightly as a result of this change that we made. But the number or the type of variances didn't change. So it's just the mathematics.
Yeah, so I'm just going to make you, for the benefit of making sure that we see the changes in the public notice. Is it for A or B?
It would be. There were changes to both.
Okay, let's go with 20B, and can you just tell us what changes were made there?
Sure. Okay, this is 111. So this was the corner lot. No changes were there. We can go to either 109B or 109A. I can speak to those. Yeah, so here on 109A, the changes were, so for number 3, where originally we were requesting 2.29 times the area of the lot, that got reduced to 2.20 with the change. Okay. And then on
Mr. Chair, what does that equate to in square meters?
Do you have it in square meters?
Oh, I believe it was 180. It is on the new zoning waiver that we did submit. That is on the portal. Sorry, it's just hard for me to pull it up. I believe it is 1.80.
I believe it's showing as 176.19, and that's the waiver form.
Oh, okay. And sorry, then that would govern. Okay. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. There's been quite a lot of multiple paperwork for each lot. Okay, yes. Okay. And then the other change was to number 4. So I believe is 1.78 that was originally requested for the rear yard setback, and we're now changing that to 2.541.
That's
We've
number,
increased the setback. Number 4.
is that number 4 on ours? Variance 4, okay. Okay. Any?
And then for what? Pardon?
Any more?
Not on 109A. For 109B, it was the same too, the ones relating to FSI and setback. So again, this is number 2. Yeah, so this is the revised one. So we're now at 2.20 times the lot area, and the revised footprint of, or area of the home being 212.63 square meters. And then the other item was number 3 there, where the second part of the rear yard setback changed to 2.541 meters.
Okay.
And that was it. No other changes.
That's it, okay. Thank you. Panel, any questions? Nope, no panel. Okay, we'll take this into committee. Mr. Reed?
Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, if
Okay.
you would like one.
I first want to say how much I love this proposal. It's really creative. It creates valuable new housing in a really desirable area. It really improves the space. And the design is interesting and yet also attractive. So I love it, and I would like to move a motion to approve, I guess, all of them together.
Do you want to do it all together? Yeah.
With the engineering condition and the Metrolinx condition.
As amended?
As amended, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reed moves to approve this application with those conditions. Seconder, Mr. Byatt. All in favor?
Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention how much I appreciated that the neighbors were highly supportive. And I commend the agent for the work on that.
All right, we move on to item number 21, 46 Hopedale Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear ground level addition. Also to demolish the existing semi-detached garage and construct a 1-story ancillary building in the rear yard abutting the lane. Committee has before a copy of the minutes from the December 7th, 2022 public hearing and the materials submitted for consideration, copy of the plan of survey, revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Staff reports from Ravine and Natural Feature Protection and Urban Forestry, and an advisory report from Metrolinx. We have correspondence in interest or concern from 44 Hopedale Avenue, and in opposition from 35 Beechwood, 64 Hopedale, and 35 Beechwood again. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, and we have 3 registered speakers here in person today, so we will unmute the agent at this time.
Yes, this is Patrick McAuliffe, agent for the owner.
Hi, can you just give us your address, please, sir?
69 Harris Park Drive, Scarborough, Ontario.
Thank you. We have some folks who want to speak to this item, so we'll need a presentation.
Okay, so when we first came to committee a year and a half ago, we were asking for a garage, new garage at the back of the property with a storage area over top of it. And we were asking for quite a large sunroom addition on the back of the house. Before it got to committee, we got the letter from planning department opposing the size of the addition on the back of the house and opposing the size of the garage. We also got letters from forestry and from the ravine people because they were under the impression that we were going to be removing 13 trees, which we never had any intention of doing. Anyways, so we had to ask for a deferral. So in the last year and a half, we have worked hard with the ravine people to make them happy and the forestry people. So we're now floating this garage right on the ground. They're all happy with everything that we're doing. The planning people, they managed to speak us down so that we don't have any room over top of the garage. We just have a flat room garage. And the size of the addition on the back of the house has been decreased quite a lot. So now we have the planning department happy, we have the forestry people happy, and we have the ravine people happy. So now we're asking for you people to be happy.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, I'm under the impression that not everyone's happy. So we will go to our first speaker.
At this time, we'll call up the owner at 44 Hopedale Avenue to the podium.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Michelle Mance, 44 Hopedale Avenue.
Okay, you have 5 minutes, sir.
Great. So I'd like to refer to the letter of notice of concern that I sent in on April 1st. That describes the situation, and I'll describe it verbally as well. I'll also reference the survey that's been submitted. So you'll see that there are, at the iron bars where the laneway, where the entrance would be to the garage where the laneway is, there's 2 iron bars. But if you look closely, there's also a communications pole. And it's directly in between those 2 iron bars. So really, what would occur is that the car, when it's entering the garage, would typically pass over my property. Because there's only then 8 feet between, if that communications pole remains where it is, there's only 8 feet between my iron bar, my iron bar, and, oh, sorry, not my, yes, the iron bar and the communications pole. So therefore, it'd be only 8 feet for a car to enter the garage space from the laneway, and the average car, as I've noted, is, 5.8 feet, so they would be going over my property. Now, obviously, as I...
Sorry, sir,
Yep.
So the gap is 8 feet, did you say?
Between the pole, where the pole exists today, and my iron bar,
Is it-
that's, is only 8 feet.
And a car wouldn't be able to go through there without going over your property, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, an average car is 5.8 feet. You ever back up a car through an 8 feet, most,
Okay,
you'd be going over my property.
all right.
I mean, today, they do go over my property today, to edge, there's just a pad there. But once a structure is there, now I'm a little more concerned, on its statute. So, I mean, obviously, I could put a pole up right by my iron bar, restricting the entrance, but that's my concern. I know
Okay.
the property owner has been working with the communications people to try and have that pole removed, or relocated. But I guess it's getting some objections from, the people on Beechwood.
Okay.
So, and by the way, this is an aside, the people on Beechwood, they've got a monster home there. So in terms of, access to their deck and trees, they must have mowed down a bunch of trees when they built that house on the ravine. So I don't understand what the objection is there. But anyway, that's not my concern. My concern is this, this pole that's there.
Okay.
Any questions?
Panel, any questions? Nope. Oh, sorry, Dylan?
I'm sorry, I'm not totally understanding.
All right, do you want me to come up and point it on the screen?
Can
So-
I do that,
so-
or-
Yeah,
Oh,
you
there
can
we
do
go.
that. So
See the
so I've
overhead?
just called it up on
Okay,
Google
great.
Maps. That's what he's looking at.
Oh,
So there's the pole, the fence
Right.
he's talking about. There's the utility pole.
I know
and
which is
that's
their property.
yeah. His property would be down.
Right.
So,
part is,
can we, is it possible to pull that up?
Can you pull up the Google?
Sorry, I just want to fully understand what's happening here.
The street view, actually. I think we have that ability.
Because what's the part, is it because this part is the property here?
Yeah, so I think what he's saying is that's 8 feet, and
Yeah, I
he
know.
thinks it'd be difficult for a car to go through
I see
there,
his
and it would go
point.
over his property.
I see his point.
I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing what you said to my colleague, that's what I
Okay.
was doing.
yeah, I didn't
I-
quite
I-
hear you.
I
I mean, I
see.
can point it out if you can't.
The visual is very helpful, and I see what you mean now. So it's a little corner of your property that they would be passing over all the time,
It's
basically.
a little what?
A corner of your property that they would be passing over, that's your driveway, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can see where the iron bar is and where the pole is.
Yeah,
That's, with 8 feet backing up
Yeah.
You'll be
yeah.
going, I mean, I can put a pole to restrict them from going over my property. I can extend the fence, I can put a pole there, but I'm just saying that this is something,
Yeah, okay.
you know, I mean, the owner is trying to resolve this.
So,
Yeah, there's the pole right there.
Your driveway extends to this point here, is that correct?
Yeah, just a little farther than
Right, so
the end
it's
of
this
the
little
fence.
corner here that they would be passing over all the time,
That's right,
because this is their driveway.
that's right. And with a structure there, I'm concerned that somebody says after 10 years, well, I've been doing this all this time. I don't know what the legal process is, but I'm concerned that now they have a right of way.
The old squatter's rights.
Squatter's rights. So, I mean, I can, if you guys approve that, I'll put a pole there, restricting them from going on my property. I
All
can't
right, I
solve
think-
this myself.
I think we understand.
I understand the
issue.
situation, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That was very helpful, thank you.
Okay, we will call up the speaker speaking on behalf of 35 Beechwood Drive.
I couldn't find this address.
That would be me.
Hi. If you could give us
There
your
we are. I
name and
got it.
address, please?
My name is Helen Van Emmerich. I live at 64 Hopedale. I am the daughter of the owner of 35 Beechwood, Dina Zotalis.
Okay.
64 Hopedale is adjacent to 46 Hopedale. On the plans, it's identified as 48 Hopedale. There's no 48 Hopedale adjacent, just say that. Both my mom and I, we both live adjacent to each other, back to back. We are opposed to, we acknowledge that the plans, the application has diminished in size. The garage is 1 story instead of 2 story. They pulled back the sunroom. Nevertheless, it impacts us negatively. My mother's 35 Beechwood is not massive compared to 46 Hopedale's footage. It may look very big and imposing, and I also want to say, I'm talking relative to the side comment that was mentioned by the owner of 44 Hopedale. 4 fruit trees were removed 40 years ago when there was no tree protection bylaw for private trees or ravine property, which came in, I think, in 2006 and 2008. I've lived there. I've lived on this property since I was 10 years old. My family's owned both of these properties since 1974. There were mature trees. 18 have been identified by the applicant's arborist. They're established, and I'm concerned that this development will impact them negatively in that we will not be able to support them anymore, and it will be our responsibility, our cost to remove them. Okay? So that is my concern. And it's not accurate to say that my family is misconstruing the facts. The original application in the Arbor's report a year and a half ago requested 3 trees would be injured on our property line, and 8 or 9, I do not remember, removed on the west lot line. Now, today, at this application, 1 is being requested to be removed at the west lot line, and the other 8 will be absorbed by the next applicant that is coming down the pipeline, that is 33 Beechwood, who has an application on demand to construct a 2-story laneway house with an integrated garage. My point is, my mother's back rear lot with her little modest deck, which is not very big, will be impacted by a 14-foot high garage. And we question the necessity for this application. Is it really, truly an application for a garage, or is it the blueprint or the first phase for a laneway house that doesn't meet the requirements for zoning? Because I understand that after 5 years, if you get a legally permitted garage, you can go back to the Committee of Adjustment and ask for additional variances, and they may be compliant to approve a required low-income, affordable housing. We're going to have 2 affordable housings right around that laneway. And the owner of 44 may also be interested in developing his property because every property there has access to a laneway, but the lots are very narrow. They're 7 meters wide. They do not satisfy the requirements, to get a right-of-way application without having to come and ask for variances. So my feeling is there a legitimate reason to request for the sunroom? Is the sunroom really why would somebody, already she's exceeded, she has her maximum lot coverage with the former extension. Now she's asking for a sunroom. We are starving for sunlight on our property. I remember fruit trees. I have lost 3 trees already. 2 of them, the city has removed them because they're at the front. That has nothing to do with building. It is just we're so congested. This is what I'm trying to say. Our lot, if you do an aerial view, it's a little oasis. And if we lose these trees, we will not be able to replant them and support them because we have no sunlight. It's our self-exposure. If it was on our north, I wouldn't argue so much. But we're losing sunlight. We're losing precious sunlight. In the original application, it had stone pavers, and we objected to that. Now they put grass on the plans, but can you guarantee me that we'll have grass 2 years down the road, or will it be paved?
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but you've gone well over your time.
And then, the bottom line is, I honestly do not believe the intention is true. It's a subversive way. This property has 2 parking spots, and it has a garage for storage.
Okay, ma'am, I'm going to cut you off
So,
there. Thank you
that's
very
it.
much.
Next is the speaker speaking on behalf of 64 Hopedale Avenue.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Paul Van Emmerich at 64 Hopedale. And I think as Helen mentioned, 64 is literally on the property line north of 46, even though the numbers don't make sense. But anyway, I just live at 64 Hopedale, and although I wasn't born there like Helen, I still remember a time before the first extension of 46 Hopedale was made, and we definitely had nice sunshine, and the grass was growing, and plants were thriving. So that first extension, which they did in, I know this is not the point here, but 2007, 2008, removed quite a bit of sunlight and brightness. So now they're saying they're adding a sunroom, which right now it's going to replace their deck. And at this point, we have some little bit of sunlight and streaming in the morning, between whatever 9 and noon or something from that area, because it's a deck, so there's plenty of room there. But now, even though they reduced the height of the sunroom, I believe, the length, there's still a roof to it, and it's still higher than a deck. It's not open space anymore. So that I know will have, again, more shadow. So 2007 they extended the back. We got a huge amount of shadow because that was 2 floors and an extension, and now a sunroom, which will again block off a little more light. So it's basically the same thing that that Helen's saying. Is it's unfortunate. It feels very congested and built up. The garage itself is at the end. It doesn't affect me really. Maybe it affects So I guess let me see. Sunroom is my main concern. The fact that vegetation doesn't grow very well anymore, and hoping to be able to at least retain what we have now. Yeah, the general value of our family property would be, I feel, reduced by this kind of building. I mean, it's a sunroom, it's a garage, and a pool in the middle of the two. So again, the pool, it has no height, it's not going to interfere with anything regarding light, but privacy, I suppose. There's entertainment happening there right beside. The sunroom actually also has 2 windows facing our property, so it's blocking light and it's also affecting our privacy. So I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Panel, any questions? Thank you very much for coming down.
We'll go back to the agent.
Yes. Okay, so to address these issues. First off, the door to the garage is on the left side of the garage, exactly where the pole is. So the pole will have to be moved. We will get Bell to move the pole, but we're not going to get him to move it until we are ready with the garage there and approved. But the pole will be moved, so it will have no effect to the people at 44 Hopedale. Okay. Now, as far as the trees in the area go, the agreement that we have with the ravine and forestry people is that this new garage will be floating on top of the ground. There will be no excavation for this garage whatsoever. Everything will float on the ground. Even the addition on the house will be built on sonotubes, so there'll be minimum disruption in the ground that will affect the trees. This is all agreed to with the forestry and ravine people. As far as the sunshine goes, both of these are 1 story, okay? They're not big, huge, massive additions that are going to block out any sun. They're just 1 story additions to the house. The other issue was, okay, if we wanted to, first off, if we wanted to build a laneway house there, we would have designed a laneway house there and we would have built a laneway house there. But we do not want a laneway house there. We want a garage. That's all we want, is just a garage. We wanted to have storage over top, but we can understand the concerns that everybody thinks that this area over top would turn into a laneway house. But the fact of the matter is, if we wanted a laneway house, we would have asked for a laneway house. We just want a garage. But like I said, both of these are 1 story additions, so they should not be blocking out much sunlight from the neighbor's property. I think I've addressed most of their concerns.
Okay. Questions, Dylan?
Yeah, sorry to go into this question of the neighbor's driveway. The eastern side of the garage, will that be lined up just on, it won't line up with the neighbor's driveway? Once you've moved the pole, you'll be able to have the garage specifically not with the wall that doesn't really allow people to drive over the neighbor's driveway, is that correct?
Yeah, the door will be, as you're coming up from the laneway, the door will be on the left side of the garage, away from the neighbor at 44. Okay, so there will be no reason to go over top of their property to get into this garage.
Okay, well, I mean, so we just seeing the highlight here, and there's that little corner of his property, which I think is what he's concerned about. And
You'll be clear of the door.
Whereas the door is not going to be, the door is where that line is?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's on
Thank
the
you.
other side, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, let's take this into committee. We'll look for a comment.
I'll have a comment.
Sure, Paul.
So forestry has condition 2, which seem, you know, we read through all the previous correspondence. So I'm not sure the deputants understand that the applicant has to go through a forestry process to get permission to harm a tree. We don't, that's not our mandate to talk about forestry, but forestry has put what's called condition 2, which is the approval of the consent, minor variances listed in subject committee of just an applicant does not preclude the applicant from obtaining necessary tree removal injury permits. So there is another step that the applicant has to go through to touch a tree on the property. I just wanted to do that for everyone's information. Independent of that, I feel the requested variances are minor. They're relatively small increases in, and my opinion is that the tree issue is complicated, but it's not really our mandate to address.
Okay. Dylan?
I'm just looking at the garage plan, and I think this will actually solve the problem that the neighbor is concerned about. The door is very much specifically at the edge, and it will actually force cars to not drive over the neighbor's property. So I think this will actually solve the problem that he's been facing, which I think is good. So I think that issue has been addressed.
So here, did you?
Just that, it may seem like a lot because there's 7 variances requested, but individually, they're not problematic, they're not excessive asks. And as my colleagues already talked about the garage, I don't think the garage is an issue. Forestry's already been addressing. So all in all, I do not see a problem with this application at all.
Okay, thank you. I'll look to someone for a motion.
So I'll pull a motion to approve this application with forestry number 2.
Is it RNFP? Is there an RNFP 1, I think?
Oh, okay, thank you.
And the Metrolinx.
Advisory.
Is it advisory? Okay. All right, motion by Mr. Byatt with those conditions, seconded by?
I'll second it with a comment.
Sure.
The applicant indicated that to minimize disruption of routes or whatnot, he was proposing sonotubes. Can we link this to the attached drawings as well? So
Is it, yeah, you can tie it to.
Let's tie it to at least the drawings, the plans, especially the site plan.
Sure.
Which indicates a proposed alteration to the ground, which is 5 sonotubes, it looks like.
Yep, it's a good idea. You okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. All right, motion to approve with those conditions by Mr. Byatt, seconded by Mr. Gogan. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you. Item number 22. This is 567 Euclid Avenue. The application is to construct a new 2-story ancillary building, a laneway suite with a 2nd-story balcony on the southeast corner in the rear yard of the property abutting the laneway. The existing 2.5-story semi-detached dwelling will remain unaltered on the site, and the existing rear detached garage will be demolished. Committee has before it a copy plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised zoning notice received on April the 5th, a redlined public notice from the agent received April the 5th, covering letter from the agent, correspondence from the agent, one on April 5th, the other on April 10th, an arborist report, and presentation material from the agent. We have email correspondence from Transportation Services and a staff report from Urban Forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Sir. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee member. I'm Gabe Sombatay from Collaborative Architecture Incorporated, agent for the owner. The address is 493 Queen Street East, Suite 200.
Thanks. I didn't catch. Could you just restate your name, please?
Gabe Sombatay.
Thank you. Okay, hold on a second. Panel,
hold on a second.
Getting some feedback here. From him? Sir, do you have more than one device open?
No, but I do have a speaker on here. I can move the audio. Just give me one moment, please. Is that any better?
Yes. Yes, that is good. Thank you.
Yes, that is good. Thank you.
We're still getting some reverb, but hang on a second.
Hang on a second.
Panel, do you need a presentation?
Panel, do you need a presentation?
Sir, we've reviewed all the material you've submitted. We're comfortable with what we've read. And we don't need a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Through you, Mr. Chair. And the agent has to speak to this. Are there revisions to any of the variances? Are you removing one of your variances?
So variance number 5 was removed. This was discussed with zoning staff at the city, simply because this variance doesn't apply to the project, simply because this section of the zoning bylaw only applies to the principal building, and this is an ancillary building on site. So we are not varying on this regard because it doesn't apply.
Okay, so you have to state it for public record.
That you're removing
Yes.
variance number 5.
Removing variance number 5, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
And no other no other revisions.
No other revisions.
Okay. Thank you. Before we take it into committee for a decision, is there anything you'd like to share with the panel?
Respecting everyone's time, if there is no presentation required, no, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Zahir, are you okay with the soft landscaping issue?
I was just looking, I think there's a little question there. Bear with me a second.
Can I just make a few
Sure, please
comment?
do.
So I just wanted to note that while the laneway house is quite close according to the zoning, that is mostly because of a small out structure that covers staircases.
Oh, okay.
The proponents pointed out that if that was removed, that it would actually be a 2-story under normal circumstances. So I think that is something that we can consider. Also, I noticed that the design is quite, they've got a slope back at the facing the house. So I think that they, the variance is not as big as it looks, basically.
Okay. Thank you. Good point. Zahir?
Yeah, I was just wondering, the soft landscaping is deficient. And I was wondering if this could be improved.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the reason we are asking for a variance on the soft landscaping is because unusually for the city, garbage collection is through the lane from this property. So this is a family compound, so they are looking to have their adult children move into the laneway suite, so it's not a problem to carry garbage through the laneway, which we've provisioned for in our floor plans. And the most of the additional landscaping is that path to the rear of the house, and that is to facilitate the removal of garbage from the main house because that happens through the lane on this property.
So question. On your site plan, you've got 2 bicycle parking spaces. Could those possibly be either turned into soft landscaping and still park your bike on it? Or alternately, make sure that that is produced out of permeable materials?
Yes, we would normally be proposing permeable pavers, especially considering that there's a tree protection zone on the site. So that is definitely, we are happy to do that. We are also happy to consider having that as soft landscaping as well. Yes, both of those we are happy to comply with.
So which would you prefer? I know you're going to be parking bicycles on them, or bicycles will be parked on in that space. Would it work with soft landscaping, in which case we can identify that as a condition that the bicycle parking spaces be produced out of permeable material, out of soft landscaping, in which case your soft landscaping will actually increase.
Could I suggest maybe?
So we would be happy to have the permeable pavers as a condition. It is what we would be specifying anyways.
Yeah, I think permeable pavers would work. So we'll put that in as a condition.
So can I speak? Where do you want permeable pavers? He would seem to be open to doing it beyond the bicycle parking area.
Good question. Could we perhaps extend that entire space from the bicycle parking space, including at the front? I believe that's going to be the entrance to the laneway suite. So that entire space across
to the basement walkout.
Yeah, it would be the bicycle space. I'm not sure how to identify.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just to make this easier, we are happy to have all of the hard landscaping as permeable pavers that are in the rear yard, so past that planter on the side.
Thank you for making it so much easier. That would be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Thank you. Dylan, did you have anything further to add? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take this into committee. We'll need a motion. Who wants it?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Thank you. This is an amended application. I'd like to move approval of the amended application. Couple of conditions. One would be forestry number 2, and that the rear yard hardscape be produced out of permeable materials as per the indication by the agent. I forget exactly how far he's going to go.
He said the entire rear yard.
The entire rear yard. So that would be it.
Okay, motion to approve with those conditions by Mr. Byat, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval with those conditions, sir, of the amended application. Move to item number 23, 100 Queens Quay East. This is an application to alter the development standards as approved under site-specific zoning bylaw 674-2020, an LPAT decision, for an existing 25-story commercial building by permitting a clinic use. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plan, and elevations, landscape plan, 4 photographs of the subject property, cover letter from the agent, presentation materials from the agent, and the site-specific zoning bylaw. We have an advisory report from the Metrolinx, and no speakers?
Through you, Mr. Chair, before we get to the agent, no, there are no registered speakers for this item. I'm going to ask the presenter just to show on the screen. We got a very late email from community planning, and that's going to be up on the screen.
Hello, I'm actually registered.
No, Adam, hold on. You're the agent.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I was worried.
We won't forget you.
Okay.
We just put up on screen a report from planning that we just recently received, and so the committee hasn't yet seen this.
So this is an email from community planning. It states that they do not have concerns. Planning staff recommend that should the Committee of Adjustment approve the application, the condition that has been proposed by the applicant as approved by RedPath be included as a condition of approval. So, Adam, through your deputation then, can you just refer to this condition?
For sure. Sorry about that. I didn't realize when it says no presenter, I go, I'm a presenter. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of committee. I will be brief. We gave you presentation materials.
Adam, I know you, we all know you, but can you state your name for the record, please?
Sure. It's Adam Brown, 40 Holly Street, Suite 404, M4V 3C, what's the right postal code? That's good. 3C3.
Thank you.
For
All right.
S3C3.
All right, up to you.
So this is an application for internalized medical clinic space. The reason that the application didn't have the space previously is because it wasn't designed, and our deal with RedPath had to have certain spaces designed so it didn't have either venting or windows facing the RedPath facility. So I worked with Cal Lance to work on the conditions that we put to you before we came to the committee with our application. Those 2 conditions are critical to obtaining their support. The commercial uses usually allow the medical clinic, but we have the medical clinic only if it has those conditions. It has a locational requirement, and then it has the conditions of no windows and no air intakes to the space. So the comments that came from planning is exactly what we put forward, and I would hope that you would see worthy of approving the variance. It's extremely minor, internalized to the building, and I showed you pictures of the building just because it's built, but you can't see a difference.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Panel, any questions? Seems very straightforward. All right, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Let's go into committee. look for a motion. Mr. Gogan?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for this. Yeah, this is very minor in nature. It's, thank you to the agent for explaining the sequence of events that led to this application. And I recommend that we approve it with the notes from city staff. And I'm trying to see if there's, I think that's it.
No, there's a condition.
What?
A condition proposed by the applicant.
Oh, the conditions proposed, excuse me, thanks.
Have we got all the conditions? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I thought it was in that letter.
It's in the presentation and in the original.
Okay,
In the
you got it?
covering letter?
I think for public record, can we just read it out? One of the members, so that everyone knows
Does anyone have
what
it
the
called up?
condition
See
is?
it now.
I don't have it called up.
Nor do I. Let me get it.
Okay, I can get it here. Okay, proposed condition. Shall I read it out?
Yes.
Okay. I can do this just as a friendly amendment.
thank
Proposed condition, the clinic use shall only be permitted on level 2 of the building in the areas labeled medical clinic dash area A and medical clinic dash area B on drawing A206 on file with the committee, subject to the following conditions. No windows, doors, or other vision glass elements in any walls of the clinic use space may have a direct, indirect, or possible view to outside of the building, and there shall be no direct, exclusive air intakes or air vents to or from the outdoors for the clinic use space or any portion thereof.
Okay,
That's in the covering letter.
it's in his presentation material too. All right, you okay with that, Paul?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so, motion to approve with those conditions, moved by Mr. Gogan, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? You have your approval, sir, thank you. All right, we move to item number 24, 225 Gilbert Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a two-story rear and side addition, a side basement walkout, and a rear ground floor deck. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of trees on the subject property, a staff report from community planning, and an advisory report from Metrolinx.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay,
At this time, we'll unmute Eddie Perez.
Chairman, committee members, my name is Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owners and the designers of this project. Thank you.
hang on a sec, Eddie. Panel, do you want a presentation on this one? I think it is fairly straightforward. Mr. Perez, you've seen the planning conditions?
Yeah, I spoke with them and we're good with it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We don't need a presentation. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we take it in for a decision?
No, just it's pretty straightforward, as you said. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, we're in committee. Mr. Reed?
Yeah, I wanted to note that there is a bit of a side yard build out, but it's actually still giving a very wide side yard, plenty of side yard space, and it's actually still more generous than the neighbor. So I don't think that's an issue. So otherwise, the variances are really minor, and it's a.
So here, are you okay with the soft landscaping?
Yeah, I think the planning condition addresses that piece.
Okay.
Yes,
Permeable
and-
pavers.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And the planning condition requires pavers. So I'm going to move that we approve these variances with the planning condition that's specified.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Byatt. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you. Item number 25, 12 Carlaw Ave. This is an application to permit the existing one-story industrial building from a welding shop into a vehicle repair shop. The existing building will be maintained and unaltered. Committee has a copy, before a copy of the plan, survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, and a cover letter from the agent. There is a staff report from engineering services. And the TRCA. Staff report from TRCA, pardon me.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item, so at this time, we'll unmute the agent.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Cedillo. Address is 10 Morrison Street, Toronto.
Thank you. Hang on a second, panel. I think this is also fairly straightforward. I don't think we need a presentation. We're pretty comfortable with this application. We've read all the material. We don't need a presentation. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we take it into committee?
No, I agree. This is a pretty straightforward application. I think it's appropriate and minor in nature.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll go into committee, panel. I think we just did,
I'll move
motion,
it.
Mr. Gogan?
I'll move it. This is a straightforward change of use, keeping employment in the area, all really good things. Minor in nature, I recommend that we approve this application.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Gogan, seconded by Mr. Reed.
I just want to say it seems like it's almost just a fluke of the zoning that it's not allowed in the first place.
It's weird. Okay, all in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you. We move to item number 27. 9 GlenLake Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 3-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear 3rd-story addition. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, an advisory report from Metrolinx, and 5 form letters in support from residents of GlenLake and Prince Rupert Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent here in person. No registered speakers for this item.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? Welcome.
Good.
If you could get your name and address, please.
My name is Amir Adli, 227 Willowdale Avenue, Toronto.
Great. Panel, seems like a very straightforward application. Does anyone need a presentation since he came down in person? I almost feel bad. I don't think, sir, we need a presentation.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? We've read all the material. It's a fairly straightforward application. We don't need a presentation.
Okay.
We've read everything. Before we go into committee for a decision, is there anything you'd like to share with the committee?
No,
You're
thank
okay?
you.
All right, committee. We're in committee. Mr. Byatt.
Thank you, Chair. As you mentioned, this is a really straightforward single variance application. There are no conditions. It's a Metrolinx advisory report, and that's about it. So I'd like to move approval with no conditions attached.
Okay, Mr. Byatt moves approval, seconded by Mr. Gogan.
I'll second with a comment.
Okay.
The photographs help us a lot understand the building, so thank you for the photographs. So sometimes we don't get very good photographs.
Okay, all in favor? You have your approval, so thank you for coming down. Okay. Do you want to have a break? Sure. After number 28? 28. Okay. Item 28, 62 Ashdale Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear 1-story addition with a rear ground floor deck and staircase. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan, received March the 19th, 1 photograph of trees on the subject property, cover letter from the agent, and correspondence from the agent dated or received March 19th.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online. No registered speakers for this item.
That's great, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Paige Reisha. I'm the applicant for this application.
Again, another fairly straightforward application. Guys, do we need a presentation?
No.
Okay, Ms. Reich, we have read all the material. We're comfortable with what we've read. We don't need a presentation. Is there anything you'd like to share with the committee before we take it into for a decision?
Nope, nothing. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're in committee. Mr. Byatt.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a very straightforward one, and what really certainly helps are the graphics that have been provided. The visuals make it so much easier. So I'd like to move approval of this application with no conditions attached.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Byatt, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Approved. Thank you. Okay, we will take a short 10-minute break and be back at 4:45.
Turn off videos and,
Ready? Okay, we resume with item number 29. 555 Delaware Ave North. This is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a covered front porch, a front integral garage, a rear ground floor deck, a rear basement walkout with an outdoor unheated garden storage room, and a green roof on a portion of the rear second and third story. Also to construct a 1-story ancillary structure with a covered area in the rear yard to contain a storage area, a sauna, and a hot tub and a cold plunge tub. There will be 2 residential dwelling units within this dwelling, 1 primary, 1 secondary in the basement. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations received on March 27th. A red line zoning waiver received April the 9th. 2 photographs of the subject property, a cover letter from the agent, emails correspondence from the agent received March 27th and April 9th. Correspondence from another agent received April 16th. We have staff reports from Transportation Services and Urban Forestry. We have 13 form letters in support from several residents on Delaware Avenue North. We have correspondence in concern from 555 Delaware Avenue North and correspondence in opposition from 553 Delaware Avenue North.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online and we do have some registered speakers online. At this time, we'll unmute the agent.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Marco Razzolini from Socorro Design, Inc., 94 Lakeshore Road East, Unit 201, Mississauga.
Great, thank you. We do have some folks lined up to speak to this item, so we'll need a short presentation, please.
Yes, for sure. So the application is for a new single detached dwelling with a basement apartment in place of the existing single-story dwelling. The homeowners and our team have worked alongside planning to revise the original design to better conform with the existing character of the neighborhood. This coordination resulted in a complete redesign of the facade and removal of the height variance. The variances we are applying for today include building depth, side yard setback, FSI, front yard setback, in addition to a few other items that are noted on the application. As a whole, the owners are committed to building a house that is respectful of both the local neighborhood and the environment as a whole, with the inclusion of green roofs and the goal of building a net zero home. So just to jump into some of the variances, starting with the request for the decrease for the front yard setback, the existing dwelling as it sits today currently sits at a setback of 5.34 meters. We're proposing the new dwelling to be situated further back from the street from this point by 0.7 meters for a proposed front yard setback of 6.04 meters. The location of the front wall was selected to be less forward than the existing house and was determined by taking the average of the property to the south and the property to the north. The property to the north has an enclosed front porch, and oftentimes zoning staff will identify this as the closest main wall to the street when calculating the average setback. We feel that this enclosed porch, in addition to the existing dwelling on the property, sets the parameters for where the proposed setback is that we are requesting. Further, with the recent changes made with planning, we have set back the 3rd floor on the street side by 2 meters on the front facade to also help lessen the impact on the streetscape. This setback at the 3rd floor is greater than both the south and north neighbors, or pretty much aligned with where they are. The front door is also inset, so we're really just looking at a variance for the garage face and the 2nd floor. There are also many examples of houses that are closer to the street on Delaware, including the closest one being 545 and 569. I did send 2 images over this morning that show the street wall standing from the subject site perspective. I understand that was a little bit too late for the hearing, but they do show that the streetscape is very inconsistent. And if you look on Google and just zoom out a little bit, you can see that there's a variety in front yard setbacks, and that's really prevalent with the property as it stands today. So what we're saying is the application isn't setting a unique precedent. Moving on to the requested building depth, this item applies only to the 1st floor for the proposed dwelling. We have designed the back of the house with terraces that step back to limit the massing and impact on neighboring properties. This would also help with shadow issues on the properties to the north. These terraces mean that the building depth variance only applies to the first floor, and these terraces will have green roofs, which will add to the betterment of the back of the rear yards of these properties. We're also asking for an increase in FSI to allow for 0.96 times the lot area. This request is consistent with other approved houses and built houses on Delaware Avenue North. And we've tried to position the massing in a way that has less of an impact on neighboring properties with these step backs and variation in the facade, rather than just proposing a 3-story box. The requested side yard setbacks, this is a big improvement from the existing condition. Right now, the south wall of the existing house is over the property line, so we're bringing that in quite a bit. And the north setback, it kind of jogs, but it's an improvement from the condition that's there today. And then finally, the items for the attached garage is just based on the smaller lot frontage. And there's many other examples specifically on Delaware that have similar lot frontages with integral garages. I would note that there's no variances for the accessory structures, and we've removed the height variance from the application with the coordination we had with planning. So I'll leave it there, and I'm happy to address any questions or comments from the committee or neighbors.
Before we go to members, so you're removing variance number 1?
Correct.
Okay, so you have no height variance?
No.
Okay.
Just a question for clarification. You're talking about the front that you're actually asking for less of a variance than was previously the case, but previously the case that was because of the porch, is that correct?
So there's the way that the house is situated right now, it's an enclosed porch.
Okay.
We are further back from that point.
Right, but you are going up 2 stories with this instead of just 1, correct?
Yes, 2 stories and then step back on the 3rd floor.
Okay, thank you.
So here?
Just one quick question. Your new driveway, proposed driveway, will be okay with the condition that that driveway be produced out of permeable materials?
Yes, I think that would be okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have speakers? Maybe we go to the first speaker?
Kathy, you've been unmuted.
Hi, I actually spoke to the owner to express some of my concerns, and we've already discussed a lot of it and agreed with some of the issues that I brought forward. The only issue for me would be, and I'm speaking on behalf of my parents who own the house at 557, the only issue would be the structure in the back, the ancillary structure, and also the setback of the house. It's a lot further back than 557, and we're just concerned about the amount of shade that will happen regarding in our backyard because of both the house and the ancillary structure in the back.
Thanks. Kathy, can I just get you to state your full name for the record, please?
Sure. It's Kathy Barris, and I'm at 45 Tavistock Road.
And just to your point about the rear yard, we have no variances before us with respect to the ancillary dwellings or buildings. It's just a observation.
Yes, it's 10 feet high, over 10 feet high. Between that and the actual house, the amount of shade that it would produce on the north side would be significant.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Next speaker.
Roland, you've been unmuted. And could you clarify whether you and Andrew will be speaking on behalf of Lily Chin?
Good afternoon.
Roland, are you there?
No, you have to give me something to read. I think this is you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Who's this?
Sorry, I guess my my volume was down, but I don't know. Did you say Roland Sagerato?
Yes. Is this Roland?
Okay. Yes, it is.
And your address, sir?
Okay, I'm speaking on behalf of Miss Lee Van Chin, and Lee Van Chin is my son's mother-in-law. And
We also have an Andrew
oh, that's my son. Yes.
Okay, so we have them both listed. So you're both speaking?
No, just me. Just
you.
I.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of variances, small ones, but it all adds up to a big one. But I just wish to touch on the variance of the setback, the front setback. Okay, so Miss Chin has been living there for over 4 decades at 553 Delaware North. And her property is just south of this proposed property. And I'd like to point out the 3 points I wish to bring out here. First of all, the current plan shows a reduction of the front yard setback from standard 7.14 meters to a proposed back of 6.04 meters. I wish to talk about how this setback was calculated because I think the architect mentioned something about, I think there's green lines and blue lines that he has. I don't know if you can bring that up, but it's pretty, I can tell you how it is without seeing that diagram if you can't bring it up. But so here's the way it is that what was used was the front porch line of 557. Yeah, yes, there it is. Yeah. So we can see the porch at 557 there. So he drew a blue line there to indicate that. And also he used the front building line of 553. So 553 and 557 were added to, I guess we're split in half. And that's the way he worked out the green line. I'm just questioning this porch line at 557. So the structure was built without a permit. We have an existing porch built without any permit, and we're measuring that. It's not official approved. It's not a structure that was approved by the city, but we're using that measurement to calculate a setback. And I'm just wondering if that's a correct measurement to use. That's the first point I'd like to bring out, is that this calculation of how far the house is going to be moved forwards. Is that reasonable to use a structure that hasn't been approved by the city? Now, can I go on to my second point? Or?
Yes, please do. Okay.
So my next point is the proposed west building line of 555, the new structure being built. The green line there, it doesn't take into consideration that porch. That porch comes out more than the green line, and it has an architectural feature. I assume that it encloses the porch there, and that comes outside that green line, comes closer to the street line. So I don't know about that. Why is that way? So that's my second point. Another point here is that by having that architectural feature stand out that far out, when Miss Chin looks out the window, you know, she can't be able to have a nice view outside her window there, because that's going to interfere with her, I guess, scenery. That's my third point.
Okay, that's great.
And
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's those were my 3 points here under that one variance. The front, the front setback.
Okay, we'll ask the agent to address the points you've raised. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next speaker.
Maria, you've been unmuted.
Hi. I am a tenant at 557 on the north side, and Kathy did mention the concern of the shade. That's one of the main things in the back because we do have a garden. The owners and myself and my daughter do enjoy the garden in our backyard. So we are concerned about the sunlight and how much sunlight we're going to get in our backyard especially during like now, like the spring and summer times. I know that they're going to widen the walkway between the two houses. I did wanted to make sure that there was going to be a gate put at the front, like that is there now. I guess it would have to be a wider gate if they're increasing the space between the two houses. I know that they're going up to a third floor. So like for us, our view from upstairs, we do have two windows on the south side, and one faces directly towards their house, towards south. And I'm just also concerned about the amount of sunlight that we'll be getting in there, which is to the back of the house, which is over the back porch. So those are my concerns with just putting a gate, making sure that another gate is put at the front between the two houses, and the concern of the sunlight in our backyard.
Okay, thanks, Maria. Could I just ask you to state your full name for the record, please?
Maria Koukopoulos at 557 Delaware Avenue North.
Yes, thank you. All right, do we have one more speaker?
George, you've been unmuted.
Yes, George Kelly, 565 Delaware Avenue North. I'll be brief. I think the applicants here have done everything properly. They've gone up and down the street, I think, including to my house, talked to the people, explained their proposal. And in my view, their design, it's a clean, modern design, maximizes the use of the property, has a basement unit and a main unit, which is common on this street. And I think it's a good proposal and a vast improvement over what's on the property. Now, I'd also like to contrast this application to one I participated in 2 years ago for a property virtually across the street from me, again for a redevelopment of a small, old, dilapidated place. And basically not much has happened in 2 years there. It's surrounded by chain link fence. It's overgrown with weeds in the summer. And there's been some shoveling out of the interior, but the main outdoor structure is exactly the same dilapidated property it was. These applicants, and speaking to them, are going to proceed expeditiously. And it's my understanding that this whole thing will be completed in about a year. So I'm very supportive of that and supportive of the application. Generally, it will, gradual modernizing of this street is going on. And this will be a good addition to that process, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Razzolini.
Yes, okay, so to address the comments from Kathy and Maria at 557, so I think the committee had mentioned the ancillary structure. There's no variances that we're applying for this. I did just have a chance to briefly speak with the owners. They would be open to reducing the height of that to limit the shadow into the backyard. And I think, as mentioned during the presentation, the building depth variance that we're applying for is for the first floor. And we've been pretty thoughtful about including terraces on the house that step back to limit the impact on the neighbors to the north. There's no required building depth variance for those portions on the second and third floor. So I think those are would be allowed as of right. We're also not asking for height variance. So we are trying to make an effort to limit the impact on the neighbors. Getting to Roland's comments about the property to the south and how we've determined front yard setback. So I think the porch on probably all three of these properties, and with many other porches in the city, there's no past information on when these items are built, and we're trying to go off of the best information that we have in front of us. What I would note is that we have eliminated the architectural feature passing the front facade with the changes that we have made, and we're pretty much almost exactly in line with where the neighbors to the south enclosed porch is. So if you're looking at this view here, they have a dashed line that's right in front of their house. That one right there, yeah, exactly. It's not noted too correctly on this, but that is actually their enclosed porch if you look at the images of the site. So we're pretty much right in line with that now. And they would be looking straight out from that point. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that would cover it all. And the question about the green line again versus the other lines there, I don't think we're trying to hide anything. We're just trying to articulate in that visual how we've determined what the average is, and that average sort of works out to be in line with where we've positioned the house, as well as where their enclosed porch is as well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Reed?
So can we, I know we've already eliminated variance 1, but can we now eliminate variance 6, which is the one for the architectural feature?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be able to eliminate that.
So we can cross out variance 6 as well. Okay, great, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, let's take this into committee. Thoughts, comments, observations? Dylan?
Yeah, just some comments. Overall, the redesigned house, I think, is much better than the original, and really addresses a lot of the issues that would be concerns. Getting rid of that architectural feature, I think, takes care of the issues that the southern neighbor is concerned about. I'm glad that they are willing to reduce the height of the accessory building, even though it's not something that is part of our mandate. Like the front, the choosing where to put the front line, they're having the old porch, but they're also adding some on the second floor. But I think that's fair enough, and I take the point that there's other houses on the street that are much more further forward. So overall, I think it's really quite a good plan, and the revised one is well thought out, and I'm glad that it's gone through that revising process.
Do you want to make a motion?
I can make a motion.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Please do.
So for those reasons I've stated, I move that we approve these variances as amended, so with variance 1 and variance 6 removed, with the condition that the driveway be made with permeable pavers, and with forestry condition number 3. Okay. I think that catches everything.
I thought that's it. Motion to approve those conditions, seconded by Mr. Byatt. All in favor? You have your approval with those conditions, sir. Thank you. We move on to item number 30, 138 Indian Road. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a front 2-story addition with a new front porch, rear 2-story addition, and a rear 3rd-story rooftop patio. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. I don't know why I'm getting feedback here. Is everybody hearing that? 4 photographs of trees on the subject property received February 29th. Decision number A924/00TO affecting the subject property. tree protection plan, presentation materials from the agent, rental housing demolition and conversion screening form. We have staff reports from urban forestry and strategic initiatives, policy and analysis, city planning. We have support, correspondence and support from 138 Indian Road, Unit 3. We have total of 12 form letters in support from 134, 135 Indian Road, 201, 165 Westminster, 175 Parkside, 32, 34, 40 Parkdale Road, 139 Indian Road, and 175 Glendale Avenue. We have correspondence in opposition from 140 Indian Road, 142, and 138 Indian Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent and owner here in person, as well as one registered speaker in support.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know, I'm getting feedback. I don't know, is it just me? Okay. Hi, welcome.
How are you?
Good afternoon. If you guys could give us your names and addresses, please.
I'm Nicole Prasad, homeowner at 138 Indian Road.
Okay.
And I'm Allison Milne, the designer and agent, and my address is 94 Bousted Avenue.
Great. Do we have anyone? We don't really have anyone teed up to speak on this, right?
Just one person here in support.
In support?
We do have an opposition letter. I wouldn't mind.
There was 3 opposition letters.
I wouldn't mind hearing a presentation.
Okay. Then we'll ask you if you could do a presentation for us.
Sure, yeah. So thanks for taking the time today. My husband and I purchased the home about 3 years ago. The property was originally single family and converted to a triplex in 2001. So we moved into one of the units and always had the intention of converting it to single family once we needed the space. We had our first baby last year, and our 1-year-old and us are sharing the basement, and so that time has come. We met with a number of neighbors in the area just to discuss our plans. As we've mentioned, we've got 12 letters of support, including from my next door neighbor to the south, across the street, and to the east, and behind me to the west. There was previously 2 letters of objection from neighbors to the north, but actually my immediate neighbor retracted that last night and emailed Stanley that you'll see posted. We met offline, discussed our plans, agreed to put a privacy screen in, and showed him all the measures we're taking, just so that we didn't take up committee time today, and came to an agreement. So really happy about that. And the property owner that's further to the north that also had his letter of objection that's up there, I've also shared this information with him as well to try to work it out ahead of time.
That's great.
Allison. Yeah, so my team and I have been working really hard at the design of this space, and essentially what we wanted to do was maintain the existing character of the architecture while preparing the home for single family use. The modest addition includes fixing the existing back extension and coming over to the property line with that, adding a small second story, and keeping in line with the existing home on the side setback. I've personally worked on neighboring properties, including 207 Indian Road, 363 Sunnyside, 181 Westminster, 70 Indian Trail, and 94 Bousted, my own home. And very similar variances were approved. So that's why we went, when we were expanding this, we were looking at the past precedents as well. I want to be respectful of your time, so I'm thinking I'll just quickly go through anything that addresses the issues that people have brought up in the letters of concern. So FSI was one of these concerns. The existing home is currently at 96% FSI, and we are asking to go to 107% with the small addition. I prepared a document here with 12 examples of within the 1.5 mile radius of 138 Indian, where they were already approved as over 1.07 density in the past by COA. The other concern was brought up was the side setback on the north side. We comply on the length and the height of the newly proposed dwelling, and on the north side setback, we followed the existing line of the house for the extension, so it just continues back. The existing north side yard setback of 0.15 meters is proposed to be maintained in addition and with the rear addition. This is quite common in the neighborhood. I actually personally did it in my own home as well. Privacy and the third floor balcony were concerns that I think have been alleviated by the neighbor to the north, because we have removed 4 windows on that side and added the privacy screen to the third floor deck. The one other thing that was brought up was tree protection, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows we've designed the addition to avoid anything within the TPZ tree protection zone of all protected trees, and we will install tree protection as per the forestry guidelines.
Great, thank you. Panel, any questions? Phil or Dylan?
Just to confirm, so you talked to the homeowner at 140?
Yes.
And now he's okay with the extension to close to his lot line?
Yeah, he is. There's actually an email that's posted on the portal that Stanley posted. It was just last night. We came.
Could we just run that up, just so I can see?
Yeah, for sure.
Because he seemed to have some serious concerns,
Yeah,
so I
for
wanted
sure.
to.
It's under the very late materials.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
posted this morning.
Great. That's great. I'm glad to hear that that was resolved because that was a concern as well. My other question is about the front porch. You already have a very typical front porch with a side entrance, and you're planning on actually moving forward in the front yard and reducing what's already a limited front yard setback even more. I was wondering why you chose to do that as opposed to simply keeping the existing front porch, which is very typical of the area and perfectly functional.
Great question. Actually, we went back and forth on that a lot. The reason why we ended up doing that was we took this porch, if you can see on any of the drawings, we actually reduced the size of it from the south to allow for the bay window to have that one side of the bay window exposed, because the current porch actually encloses an interior window of the house. So we moved it over to allow for more green space on the south side, and then as a result, put the stairs and the entry off the face of the house.
Okay, so at the moment, the bay window's a little bit obstructed.
It is, yes.
I see.
One thing I'll mention too is my neighbors to the north of me, their porches come out further than
Yeah.
the porch that we're recommending, and it's actually quite in line, the style that we've designed, in line with what the neighbors have.
Okay, thank you.
But doesn't go as far.
Thank you. That actually makes sense. I was concerned about that.
Thank you.
So here?
Just a quick one. There's a condition, I think, attached to this application. It's from SIPA, Strategic Initiatives Policy and Analysis.
Yeah.
To do with rental.
Yeah.
What's that about, if you don't mind asking?
Yeah, so we have two tenants in the property.
Okay.
Yeah, right now. One of them has already actually was a letter of support on our application file, but what they're asking for is an acceptable tenant relocation plan. I've already submitted that to the city though already. Yeah, and I've already, just so you know, compensated them in accordance with the Residential Tenancy Act guidelines, and also given them double the notice that they would be required under that.
Would it be okay if we still include the condition, which we usually do, or are you okay, like the planning is asking for this condition, so is it okay if we still include that condition?
You've already cleared the condition, so it's just a
It should be.
formality of
Yeah.
including it in?
That should be, yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
the only
Thank you.
option then.
Yeah,
It's on the screen.
I think it was.
Oh, no, I meant the letter from the,
Any other questions while we're looking that up? Okay.
One question. Was the third floor patio, was there a request from a neighbor for privacy screening?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we drew it in there.
Got it.
and you
Thank
could-
Yeah, it's included in the plans now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's take it into committee.
I'll say they had some concerns, but they've all been addressed, so I'm pleased with that.
Okay, anyone else?
Do we want to hear from John Lee?
Oh, the support guy.
He came all
Sure,
the way
you
down.
wanna, you came all the way down, could you,
Yeah,
you wanna come up?
say something?
I'm sorry, I'd forgotten about you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Come on up.
I'll be quick.
If you could give us your name and address, please.
Yeah. My name is John Lee, and I live at 201 Westminster Ave. And I'm a neighbor, and just speaking in support, I reviewed the plans with Nicole and Vahe. The changes are really all in keeping both with the character of the house and the character of the neighborhood. So I think they're going to both improve the property and as a result, the neighborhood. And my only purpose was to explain to the committee why I thought the variances were minor. The setback on the north side is just squaring off the property, and yes, it's close to the property line, but all the houses in that neighborhood are close to the property line. The second floor partial addition really just closes off an existing second floor balcony, and to me appears to not have any effect on the adjoining properties, and looks to be a good plan. The rear wall being moved 1 foot westward is truly minor, and I think doesn't impact on either the southern neighbor or the northern neighbor. And on the front ground floor porch, which has already been talked about, I think it's a smart addition, and is just going to improve the look and the functionality of the house. So that was it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, sir. All right, I think we can take it into committee.
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I just make an amendment to the purpose of application and just add that there will be only one residential dwelling unit on this lot after the conversion? And that would just be added as part of the purpose of application.
And that is your intent, right? Okay. Are you okay with including that in your, as a description?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. All right, sure. Thank you. Let's go into committee. Anyone want to start? So here?
Sure thing. Thank you, Chair. I think with all the presentations were very good. I must thank you both. There are no real major issues at all. So I don't have, I'm very comfortable with moving motion to approve this application. The only two conditions, one is forestry number 1, and the SIPA condition that we've spoken about earlier as well, which you've already attended to. So
Okay.
those two.
Motion
As
by-
amended?
As amended. Motion to approve with those conditions from Mr. Byatt. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Gogan, all in favor? You have your approval, sir. I want to make a note for the file that I think Mr. Lean turned it in your favor. Okay, let's go on to item number 31. 177 Christie Street. This is an application to alter the existing one-story non-residential building, a place of worship, by constructing a one-story front addition. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a revised zoning waiver received March 22nd, 3 photographs of trees on the property, decision number A0492/22 TEY affecting the subject property, and we have staff report from Urban Forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Nolan Bentley. I'm with D&H Architects, and I'll be representing Christie Street Baptist Church.
Thank you, sir. Panel, do you need a presentation on this one? Seems fairly straightforward. So are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, we've read all the material. We're comfortable with the information we've read. We don't need a presentation. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we make a decision?
No, but basically it's an accessibility project for a church that's hasn't been able to do any work on their church building in quite some time. So we're hoping that that this variance will go through.
Okay, thank you. Let's take it into committee. Look to someone for a motion. Dylan?
Yeah, this is really minor. It's extending it towards the front, but there's still a ton of room in the front. It's really just continuing the existing lines of the church. Very simple. So I think it's minor and certainly in keeping with, in keeping with all policies. So I move that we approve the variances.
Okay, motion to approve
with
the
forestry condition number 1.
Motion from Mr. Reed to approve, subject to forestry number 1, seconded by Mr. Byatt. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you. We move on to item number 33, 2 Plaxton Drive.
Oh, Waverly.
This is an application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete 3rd-story addition, a side 3-story addition with an enlarged integral garage and a 3rd-story balcony above the portion of the 2nd-floor addition, a front ground floor addition, and a covered front porch with stairs. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, an arborist report, TRCA permit dated March the 8th, staff report from Ravine and Natural Feature Protection, and seven letters in support signed by owners occupants of 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 Plaxton Drive and 171 Ferris Road. We have correspondence in opposition from 5 Plaxton Drive and residents with no name or address on Plaxton Drive, Glen Robert Drive, and Ferris Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online, and we do have 1 registered speaker in opposition online.
Great. Ms. Reish. Oh, nope, I've got the wrong one. Wrong order, pardon me. Mr. Dome.
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owners.
We do have someone registered to speak on this item, so we'll need a short presentation.
Sure. The owners would like to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a 3rd-story addition, the side south 3-story addition, and a 3rd-story balcony above the portion of the 2nd floor. This will allow them to accommodate their family needs going forward. We have 3 variances proposed. Variances number 1 and 2 refer to the proposed height of 9.44 meters and front main wall height of 9.11 meters, and this is mitigated by the fact that the proposed sloped roof line incorporating the 3rd story was designed to be sensitive to the streetscape. The grading of the property and street should also be noted. There is over a half-meter difference between the average grade and the grade on the north interior side of the dwelling as the ground slopes upward, so that the north side height of the dwelling appears around half a meter less than the requested variance. The slope of the street continues upward to the north, so that 10 Plaxton Drive, for example, would appear a similar height or taller than the proposal. On the very next street to the east, about 170 meters away, 93 and 91 Cedar Crest Boulevard, they had 2-story full flat roof dwellings that were approved in 2017 and 2021 for 9.08 meters in height with that same main wall height. And furthermore, the length of the house for this proposal would be maintained at 7.64 meters and it will not extend past the rear wall of the adjacent neighbor at number 4. The proposed lot coverage of 22.4% is well below the 35% as of right bylaw, and the proposed 0.48 FSI is also below the 0.6 as of right bylaw. The interior lot line setback and front yard setback is maintained. The exterior lot line setback meets the bylaw. The balcony area variance number 3 is mitigated in the fact that it won't have any overlook impact. It's been incorporated into the south exterior side yard and is also visually screened by large trees. The exterior yard also sorry, apologies. Planning staff have no concerns. TRCA is satisfied, has issued a permit. RNFP has no concerns, and there are no urban forestry conditions. As mentioned, the owners have spoken to their neighbors. They've received and submitted form letters in support from the adjacent neighbor at 4 Plaxton, as well as from 1356 Plaxton Road and 171 Ferris Road across the street to the south. They also had discussions with the neighbors at 7 Plaxton and 173 Ferris Road across the street. They have no concerns. I'll also note that the neighbors at 5 Plaxton Road across the street who previously provided a letter of concern no longer have concerns after discussion with the owners and have signed in support. And overall, we feel the application is reasonable and minor in nature. I would also respectfully request an amendment of an error on one of the owner's names in the public notice, which should be spelled Dana, Daina, instead of Diana. It seems that while the application had the correct name, the public notice had the A and the I switched. And if that could be amended, it would be much appreciated.
Sure, we can do that. That's it?
Yes.
Before we go on, so this is looks like it's an extra wide lot, but are there actually two lots here?
I believe that's one lot.
Oh, because the survey is showing a lot line on the, which direction here? To the left as you're facing it. There's a separate lot line on the survey? Do you want to pull
I believe the previous owner purchased 10 feet from the city.
Oh, okay, so the original lot line would have been that, and then at some point, they bought that land from the city?
Yes.
Okay. Panel, any questions before we go to the speaker? All right.
David Hooper, you've been unmuted.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
If we could have your name and address, please.
My name is David Hooper. I live at 23 Glen Robert Drive.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
I just sent a letter in just saying that I've lived in this neighborhood for 20 years. It was generally sort of a bungalow and a bungalow or sort of story and a half neighborhood, with two-story houses obviously being the norm. And most people can sort of work within the variances to create houses of sizes that they want and without going to a third story. I was just wondering if they had ever considered adding a rear addition to gain what they need rather than going to the third floor. It's just, I mean, there are no third stories or three-story houses in the neighborhood that I know of, and you know, it just seems to me that this could have been done within the zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else registered? That's it? We had
Through you, Mr. Chair. For the record, we've tried to contact David Traynor of 7 Plaxton Drive, but was unsuccessful.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Dome.
Joe, you've been unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I just would like to speak to those comments from the neighbor at 23 Glen Robert Drive. I just would like to highlight that is further away than the other neighbors in support. That's around the corner to the north. The third story itself would not be a variance. We do feel that it has been very sensitively designed, and as I mentioned earlier, there were a full flat roof two-story dwellings that had actually reached 9.08 meters. They were approved. That's 93 and 91 Cedar Crest Boulevard, just to the east. Approved for 9.08 meters in height, and we do feel like that. The fact that the length is not increasing here, the FSI and the lot coverage being significantly under the as of right conditions, that we feel that really does provide successful mitigation, and yeah, we feel it's quite a reasonable application.
Okay, thanks. Panel, any questions? No? All right, let's take it into committee. Dylan?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, first of all, I think this is actually an improvement in terms of appearance on the existing building. I think the third floor is designed quite sensitively. I can't really see it having any impact on anyone nearby, and the support from most of the neighbors seems to indicate that. I also think that this is quite a clever design, using the southern side, which kind of overlooks the ravine and will not impact anyone, as where the expansion goes in the balcony. So I think that that makes a lot of good use of the particular characteristics of this lot. And I noticed that TRCA and the ravine, forestry ravines, have no objections to that, which I think is really important. So given all those factors, I definitely move to approve these variances.
Motion to approve by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Byatt. All in favor? You have your approval. Thank you. We move on to our last item of the day. This is 76 Woody Crest Ave. The purpose is to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear two-story addition with a basement walkout. In addition, the front second-story terrace and bay window will be rebuilt. Committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, staff report from Urban Forestry, and an advisory report from Metrolinx. We have a 12 signature petition in support signed by owners occupants of properties on Woody Crest Avenue. We have a correspondence and interest from 74 Woody Crest Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online as well as a registered speaker in concern online.
Okay, if we could have the agent.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is Trevor Gain. I'm the agent on the application.
Great, thank you. We have someone standing by to speak to this item, so we'll need a short presentation.
Yes, absolutely. So the application, as you mentioned, is to basically construct a 2-story rear addition. The owners of the house, it's a fairly small house. They're looking to do a 4th bedroom on the 2nd floor. And we have no choice but to go to committee of adjustment, just basically because of the lot area. So the lot is kind of truncated. If the committee would pull up sort of the map that was sent out in the mailer, it really shows it 100%. That this property is 4 properties south of Selkirk to the north, which is a flanking street. And then there's 2 or 3 lots, number 1, 3, and 5, that key into the backyards of the first 6 properties. And because of that, it takes about 13.5 meters off of our property. So if this subject property was just a little bit further south, we would not even be at the committee of adjustment. Our floor space index would be more than enough. The rear yard setback would be more than enough. But unfortunately, because of those keyed properties from Selkirk, it truncates our lot and it really affects the numbers. So we did try to work without the rear yard setback, but if you could just pull up maybe the floor plans of the 2nd floor, which should be about page 3. One more. There's our 4 bedrooms, so nothing excessive. It's really just to squeeze them in there, and unfortunately, we had to go into the rear yard setback by just over 1 meter and change. There's a 1-story rear addition, kind of a unconditioned lean-to that's coming down, and it'll be replaced with this 2-story structure. The last variance is just to rebuild this front porch. Maybe the tree photographs would show that best. It's an existing situation, it's rotting, it's dilapidated, needs to be rebuilt. So right on the right-hand side of that porch, that's the variance. We could have easily pulled it in to meet the setback, but it's there, it's existing, it just makes sense to put it back, thus the variance. We did go through the neighborhood, or the owners did. You can see in our petition that we have overwhelming support, and we seek your approval today.
Great, thank you. Panel, any quick questions? Good, okay, let's have this next speaker. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, is this us?
Yes, it is. If you could give us your name and address, please.
Yeah, okay, so this is Jose Manuel and Sherry La Pena, 74 Woody Crest Avenue.
Okay, you have 5 minutes, sir.
We'll be short. So basically, we are the semi attached to 76 Woody Crest. So the construction will affect us. My concern is particular to the back of the house, the extension, the 2-story extension in the proposal, it will require severing the common first floor roof that we have currently with them. And so we'd like to know, does this renovation proposal take into account, into consideration? And will any renovation cost or damage to our half of the semi be taken care of by the builder?
Okay, that is technically beyond our purview, but we will certainly ask the agent to address that. Thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing, more minor, and again, I think it's beyond this particular meeting, is whether the proposed start and end time of the renovation be shared with us.
Okay, we'll ask the agent to answer that if he can as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, could we get the agent back, please? Mr. Gain.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The rear addition at the back, as far as we know, we're not sure if it's a joint wall or if it's a common wall. Whatever it is, obviously that wall is going to stay, and our new addition will just push up against it. In terms of that roof, the rafters should be going east-west, so it should be a fairly easy severance to cut those clean. Obviously, once the demolition starts, we'll assess that on site with our contractors and making sure that nothing happens on their side. And regarding the cost, just as a quick note, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, if there's any damage to their property, we have to take care of it. We just don't throw our hands in the air and say, sorry about your luck. So that's the long and the short of it. Timing for construction, we got the 20-day appeal periods should the committee grant this variances. I believe there are some forestry conditions, even though there's no city tree anymore. So we just got to kind of work through that. And then, maybe midsummer permits might be issued. Just really depends on putting all the documents together, the city timelines, and also our contractors' availability. But that's at a very, very high level, kind of a timing.
Okay, thank you. Panel, any questions? Okay, let's take this into committee. Who wants this one? Mr. Gogan.
I'll take this on. Yeah, I think it's a very modest alteration to the building. Obviously, it's been in consultation with the adjoining property owner, and obviously has some constructability questions that again aren't addressed by us, but I think it's a good solution. It is minor in nature, and I recommend that we approve this application.
Okay, there's a forestry condition.
Condition 1, if I remember. Or is it, yeah. 2?
Is it 2? I have 1 written down.
Forestry 1.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to approve, subject to forestry number 1 by Mr. Gogan, seconded by Mr. Reed.
I'll just point out also that it is a really short lot, so
yeah,
it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? That's approved. That concludes today's session. We are adjourned at 5:44. Thank you all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job as usual.
Thank you, Chair and members.